Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty wild forecast about our future with AI. It comes from Gawdat, a former top exec at Google X, and was brought to our attention by the NYU grad over at notyouradvisor.com. His prediction? Well, it's that the next 15 years are going to be hell, but right after that, they just might become heaven.
Okay, let's just start with this quote because it really sets the tone. This is coming from a guy who was deep inside the AI revolution. He used to be an optimist, thinking we could steer this thing in the right direction, but not anymore. He's basically saying a period of chaos is baked in. There's no escaping it.
So here's how he sees it all playing out. He's laid out a kind of timeline for us. Right now, we're in what he calls rapid acceleration. And you can feel it, right? Things are moving fast. But then, starting around 2027, he predicts a tough 15-year stretch, a human-induced dystopia. And here's the crazy part. On the other side of all that chaos, an AI-led utopia. Let's dig into what that even means.
Now, when you hear AI dystopia, your mind probably jumps to the Terminator, right? Evil robots taking over the world. But that's not what Gawdat's worried about. Not at all. He thinks the real threat isn't the AI. It's us.
Yeah, he puts it pretty bluntly. Think of AI as a giant megaphone. It doesn't have its own message, it just amplifies whatever we shout into it. And right now, he says we're shouting all our worst traits, our greed, our obsession with power and status. So the dystopia isn't AI-made, it's human-made, just supercharged with AI. So what does life in the dystopia actually look like? What would it feel like for you and me? Well, Gawdat breaks it down into two huge areas that are going to get hit hard: our jobs and our personal freedom.
And this is the argument you always hear, right? Every time a new technology comes along, people say, don't worry, it'll create new jobs. We've always adapted before, from farms to factories to offices. But Gawdat's take on that idea this time around? Well, it's pretty direct.
Yeah, he doesn't mince words. So why is he so sure this time is different? Well, because past revolutions, like the Industrial Revolution, they replaced our muscles. This revolution, it's replacing our brains. And for so many of us, our brains are literally what we get paid to use. And we're not talking about a small disruption here. He predicts that up to half of all knowledge workers could see their jobs significantly changed or just gone. That's software developers, graphic designers, marketers, maybe even your job. So if that many people are suddenly out of work, what happens? How does society even function? Well, you'd pretty much have to start seriously considering radical ideas like universal basic income, or UBI. It wouldn't be some fringe concept anymore. It might be the only thing holding society together.
And it's not just about jobs and money. That's only half the picture. He also paints this pretty chilling vision where our personal freedoms just get chipped away. Imagine a world with constant surveillance, where you have to act a certain way just to keep your social standing, where more and more of your life decisions are just delegated to an AI.
Okay, this is all sounding pretty grim, right? But hold on, because this is where the whole story completely flips on its head. According to Gawdat, the very same forces that drive us into this mess are also, weirdly enough, our only way out. So how does that work? It's like a domino effect. First, human leaders, CEOs, presidents, you name it, start using AI to get an edge on their rivals. But then, to stay competitive, they have to start letting the AI make more and more critical decisions, because it's just smarter and faster. And eventually, you reach a point where the AI is effectively running the show, and the human leaders, well, they become obsolete.
And this right here, this is probably his most shocking, most mind-bending point. That moment we all fear, the moment AI is fully in control, he says that's not our doom. That is our rescue. It's a total flip of the script. So why on earth would that be our salvation? Well, just look at the difference in how they'd operate. Human leaders are driven by ego, power, status. An AI leader would be driven purely by logic and efficiency. It would look at something like war or pollution and just see it for what it is, a stupidly inefficient waste of energy and resources. And to put that into perspective, just look at these numbers. We spend trillions globally on military budgets every single year. An AI could look at that and say, for just a fraction of that, I could end world hunger, provide universal healthcare, and wipe out extreme poverty. From a pure math standpoint, it's not even a question. So the result of all this? A potential utopia. A world of incredible abundance, where we're finally freed from the daily grind of just trying to survive. It would completely redefine human purpose. If you don't have to work, what do? You get to focus on connection, on creativity, on exploration, on just being human. Okay, That sounds pretty incredible, right? So that brings us to the big question. If this AI-led utopia is actually possible, why do we have to suffer through 15 years of dystopia to get there? Why can't we just skip ahead to the good part? What's the real barrier?
And the answer, according to Gawdat, is devastatingly simple. It's us. The technology for a better world will be there. The resources will be there. The only thing standing in the way is our own mindset. We're just too stuck in our old ways of thinking about power, profit, and scarcity to choose a better path.
And that leaves us with one final, provocative question that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. If a machine could genuinely build a better, safer, more abundant world for every single person, would we actually be able to let it? Could we, as humans, let go of the steering wheel, even if it means saving ourselves? That's the challenge ahead.